How's it going, everyone? Mega Mashers here, and, well, I'm gonna cut straight to the chase. This video is about Smogon, and about how I'm actually coming in defense of Smogon, considering that, well, one, I'm a Smogon guy, slash monster, slash beast, slash T-Rex, whatever you want to fucking call me. I like to think of myself as the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the Smogon community, mostly because of the fact I got these short-ass arms, and I eat like a T-Rex. But getting on topic here, the reason why I am making a video like this is because of the fact that Smogon is, like, even to this day, is still getting all this hate, all this flame their way. And for what? For what? Just because they enforce their own set of rules when it comes to competitive battling? I mean, that doesn't seem like any reason to warrant such vitriol and such hate towards a community, especially given the fact that this is a pretty popular community. I mean, they have, what, over 250,000 likes on their Facebook page? It's been a while since I went to their Facebook page, but their numbers are up there. They are up there. So, before I get into the main core of this video, I should tell you guys a little bit about what Smogon is. Smogon is an unofficial battle format in which they enforce a certain set of rules to bring out as much of the competitive aspect in Pokemon battling as possible. They also have tiering, which means that you take Pokemon, you put them into tiers based on their usage and how well they stack up against the overall metagame. So say, for example, you have a Samurott. Samurott is in the never used tier. You have a Mewtwo, which is in the Ubers tier. If there was no such thing as tiers, then I think that the whole battling dynamic of Pokemon would be in the toilet. Smogon, in my opinion, has done a very good job of regulating and trying to balance out the competitive nature of Pokemon and trying to make it as concrete, competitive, and as balanced as possible. Now, there are some things that people say that I do not fully agree with, and a little bit of a backstory before I get into the main point of this video. I used to be one of those people that did not like Smogon, and how my hate on towards Smogon was inspired was because of one man, alright? And it's because of this one man's video, Smogon is not official or competitive. It was basically the case of where the YouTuber by the name of Verlicify was spewing a bunch of false opinions and toxicity towards a community who's done nothing to him. And considering how big of a following this guy has, you can bet that there's going to be people who will blindly follow him, attack Smogon, and flame them down for God knows what. And it could be over all the wrong things, or it could be for the fact that this person led this person on to believe that Smogon is such and such when really they're not. But anyways, he basically spent 10 minutes airing out his frustrations about Smogon, and being the naive person that I was, I actually wholeheartedly agree with everything he said. I agreed with everything he said. And looking back, fuck, I was a dumbass. I was a straight up dumbass. And I even went as far as to make a comment in the video. I can't remember exactly what I said in the video, because it happened a long time ago, but I remember one of my main points was that Smogon is nothing but a bunch of ban-happy, whiny-ass bitches that ban everything that stomped them out. And I left that comment, and I had that impression on Smogon based on what this one person said, and he made it sound so convincing, too. And then, of course, when he made the video saying that Smogon attacked him, that just fueled the fire for me even more. I thought, man, okay, so Smogon's ban-happy, and they're also vindictive. Holy shit. But you know what? After my experiences in Smogon, I can safely and 50% confidently say I was wrong in every aspect. I had no idea that about what Smogon was. Yet I was just blindly throwing things around about Smogon, dissing them, doing this, all that stuff. But it's because of one group that is heavily Smogon associated. While they're no longer in existence anymore, they're actually now Pokemon Central, being the group that I will stick up for any day of the week. You can believe that. And Pokemon Central is heavily Smogon related, and with nothing but patience and smiles on their faces, they taught me about what Smogon was really all about. They gave me the chance, even though I came in with a bunch of misinformation and a bunch of hatred towards them. They offered their hand in friendship. They took me under their wing and turned me into what you see right now. A crazy, psychotic beast that loves Pokemon, that has an open mind about not just Smogon, but about any way to play. And you know what? I thank Pokemon Central and I thank Smogon for actually turning me into a better person through all of this. I mean, who knew that a simple kids game could reflect on how a person, excuse me, how a person grows up in real life? Um, I take away those experiences with pride and with the fact that I got a lot to thank because of them. Now, in videos like these, I want to try and be as objective as possible, um, but also at the same time, me being subjective and heavily opinionated on things like this can also be called for and correct, because when I speak from experience, I think about what I say before I speak, and more often than not, I speak the truth. Um, and this video here, in defense of Smogon, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be, first off, as you see right here, I'm on the Urban Dictionary, and what I'm looking up are the top definitions of Smogon. And I gotta say, I've looked through these, and pretty much all of these are incorrect in some way, shape, and form. It's basically nothing but a bunch of misunderstanding and misinformation that is contained in these definitions, because these are from people who have little to no idea on what Smogon is about, and yet there's still people that fall through that way. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking you guys through these definitions and breaking them down and trying to debunk and refute these definitions and give you guys a more positive and accurate spin on Smogon. Yes, it may sound like I'm being subjective right now and that, I'm doing nothing but, cherry picking or, like sticking up for them, I'm wiping their asses or whatever. But honestly, though, like, I've sat idly by and I've had enough. I've had enough. Especially for the fact that it's a fucking kids game, there should be none of this shit going on. Like, people have their own ways of playing. That's that. It should be left at that. Smogon has their way, you have your way, I have my way, God has his way, fucking everybody has their way of doing things. It should be left at that. There should be no negativity, no elitism in anything, and that's actually something that I'll address later on down the road in another video, is elitism, because I find that elitism is actually, it's not just rampant within Smogon, it's rampant in every community that I so far have been a part of. But like I said, that'll be for a later video, okay? I gotta pump the brakes. Gotta pump the brakes on my fucking SUV right now, man, because we're about to go for a wild ride. Okay, so this definition right here. Smogon is definitely a happening. It all dates back to a while ago to when a brain man was getting bored and decided to get a new IRC nickname. He chose Smogon. Little did he know that he was about to unleash a huge plague on the world, greater than the bubonic plague even. Okay, first of all, that is a gross exaggeration. They are not a plague. They are an unofficial competitive battling format, and it's not like they're holding up a 9-inch like a fucking 9mm to your head and saying, "Oh, you better play by our way or else." No, That's not it at all. That is not it whatsoever. Yeah, I'm a Smogon guy, but you know what? I can safely say that I speak for anybody that has a clear conscience that represents Smogon when I say that not only are we not the be all end all, but we respect every and other ways of playing games in Pokemon, as long as if you go within our domain, you do your best to follow our rules. It's just that simple. And Smogon, yeah, they enforce a bunch of rules, and they do so for good reasons. I mean, they enforce tiers to help keep the metagames balanced. You know, keep the NU metagame balanced. RU, UU, OU, Ubers, anything goes. Thanks, Mega Rayquaza. Thanks a lot. Anyways, they enforce Sleep Clause, Moody Clause, and what else? Evasion Clause. They do that because they're trying to take away as much of the luck-based dynamics as possible, where it can be easily abused and take away the competitive aspect of battling. Excuse me. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, picture this. Picture this. If you go into a battle with no Sleep Clause, no Evasion Clause, and you go up against a team that spams that kind of shit on you, they can easily win, even though they would put little to no effort into doing so, because all you gotta do, click Spore, all you gotta do, click Minimize, and just keep spamming that shit, and just stall out the game, making it so that you cannot hit the opponent at all. And that's where Smogon's like, okay, well we gotta step in. Let's let's clean up the metagame a little bit. Let's clean up the battling and see. It's because of Smogon that they have taken years and years of research and made Pokemon into a competitive scene, and it's actually quite the popular thing on YouTube now. If you are a Poketuber, and you have Poketubers like Shofu, like PokeaimMD, Movo19, the King Nappy, Shady Penguin, Hoodlum Scrafty, all those guys that actually make a living off of competitive battling. So it's actually thanks to Smogon that people like those have jobs, that people like those can make videos like that and be passionate about doing what they do. And so yeah, like Smogon is not an evil entity that just goes around banning everything they see. They make these bans based on over centralization and the limitations of team building. And in the case where if they have to ban moves or something like that, moves or abilities, they do that because they feel that it takes away the competitive aspect of Pokemon. Like what they want to do, they want to take away as much of the abusable uh, luck factor as possible. Like for example, Prankster Swagger, that could easily be abused. You have Pokemon like Liepard or Klefki that have access to Prankster and Swagger, and that could easily ruin teams. And I've seen that shit ruin teams. I've even ruined a few teams with that strategy. Uh, but they did the right thing in banning Swagger. I mean, for the sake of it being just one move, I mean, I wouldn't have cared too much. But kind of looking at the bigger picture here, it's like, okay, well, let's face it, they kind of made the right decision. Now, there are decisions that I don't always agree with. For example, when they suspected Mega Metagross, I didn't agree with that. Mega Metagross is not an over-centralizing problem in the overused tier. Sure, it's powerful, but it's not over-centralizing in the sense that it's broken. Um, and even Mega Pidgeot, I mean, I still stand by what I said in my previous Mega Pidgeot videos, that it didn't deserve to be banned. But that's just my opinion, and everyone's allowed to have an opinion. However, at the same time, I do understand where Smogon's coming from, and at the end of the day, they're just sorry about that. They're just trying to do what's best for the metagame. Um, and I mean, I can see how, if you're an outsider looking in, how that can be like how that can look like that they're just a bunch of kids that are band happy and all that stuff. I mean, from the outside looking in, if you have a shoot in the dark kind of opinion without even knowing something about Smogon, then yeah, it does look like that they come off that way. but I can assure you from experience that is not how they come off. So, allow me to scroll down a little bit for more of these definitions. So, let's see here. Smogon, German for the Pokemon coughing. 150% fact. Number 2. An English forum named after said Pokemon that specializes in competitive Pokemon, also known as the metagame for Pokemon, is arguably the largest one out there and also produces the most commonly used tier list for the purpose of competitive battling, which are used to determine what Pokemon are allowed to be used for a particular match. Do you see anything wrong with how Smogon's doing that? No. And as I said, they're doing things to balance out metagames. If there was no tiers, you could have all these people spamming legendaries and just completely stomping face in the fucking metagame. And that right there, there's no fun in that. There would be no fun in using legendaries in battles. I mean, it's just... I'd see no fun in that. And I would give up competitive battling very quickly. Because I would just expect the same thing over and over again. But it's like, nope. There are certain Pokemon that's not allowed in the NU tier, RU, UU, OU. There's tiers for there's tiers for a reason. And I think that's fine. I am perfectly fine with tiers. I think tiers are a good thing. So let's see. Because of the tier list and the fact that its members are known to be elitist at times, okay. I won't deny the fact that elitism is in Smogon. I've actually come across a pinch of elitism at times, but I don't let negatives like that overshadow and overthrow the positives that are within Smogon and the positives that Smogon provides as a whole community. I mean, so far I haven't met really any bad apples in the Smogon community. I really haven't. So far, fuck off. Sorry about that. So far, my experiences with Smogon, absolutely fine. I enjoy being a part of their community, and it's an honor to be a part of it. It really is. So allow me to continue on. Smogon is commonly hated by people who can't accept their favorite Pokemon is placed too high or too low. Understandable. People who just plain hate tiers in general. Okay, why would you do that? People who see Pokemon as 10-year-old RPGs only and not as a strategy game. This goes back to me saying that there are different ways of playing Pokemon. You do it for the storyline. You do it to beat the game. You do it to shiny hunt. You do it to collect and fill your Pokedex up to its absolute limit. Or you do it for competitive play. Me, I'm a competitive guy. I am a competitive player. I'm laid back, chill as fuck, but I love battling. I fucking love it. So basically, this definition right here highlights the fact that there are still people out there that don't quite understand what Smogon is and will blindly either hop aboard the hate train or will just spread misinformation as a whole. Going back to the whole Velisify thing. Because of the fact that he's got such a huge following, there are people that will blindly take everything he says as if it was the holy gospel, and they'll carry that with them. They'll carry that misinformation with them, and possibly take it one step further and bash a community like Smogon. I used to be like that, but not anymore. I can assure you that. And you know what? I learned from my mistakes, and looking back, I'm glad that I'm not the scumbag that I was back then, because let me tell you something, oh man, I was just, I was not happy with, the way that Smogon was coming off onto me, but Smogon had enough patience and enough, positivity to show me otherwise. And that includes Pokemon Central. And I'll forever be grateful for those guys that taught me the error of my ways and actually taught me how to be a better person in general. because if you think about it, if you are going to blindly hate on a community, you that could happen for any sort of reason. I mean, if you go and say if you're say if you want to be a part of a bodybuilding community, such as myself, and say if someone who is a part of the bodybuilding community, they come off the wrong way. They come off as an elitist, steroid using jackass. Like that person could walk away thinking, man, is that what this community is all about? Fuck that shit. And then they could possibly go around spreading that kind of misinformation. Same with Smogon. There can be people that can take Smogon's approach the wrong way and, you know, take that into a negative spin, basically, and just spread a bunch of misinformation and hate, and therefore people will follow and bash Smogon down even more. And that's not fair. Nobody deserves that. No community, no person, nothing. And I can't believe I'm actually going to use this comparison, but picture religion for an example. Me, I respect and have an open mind to every bit of religion there is. And like I respect all religion. Just this at the same time though, don't try to shove down my throat your beliefs in a way that for you to say that this is better because it's like you don't know me. And this basically goes back to the whole like people thinking that Smogon is filled with uh, ban happy elitists. It's like, well, if you don't like it, go home if you don't like it. Because Smogon, one, is not that way, and we don't really need to have that kind of negativity to circulate in our community. Um, but basically, this right here, like Smogon is not the be all end all. Okay, there are other ways of playing Pokemon, whether it be for casual, whether it be VGC, whether it be to shiny hunt, fill your Pokedex, storyline, all that stuff. There is no single way of playing Pokemon that tops the other. Uh, my preference, I'm a competitive person. I play by Smogon. Does that mean that I hate every other single other way of playing Pokemon? Hell no. But Smogon is just my preference. Um, but some people, they kind of take things too far, and it's like, why is there all this negativity that has to be spewed about in Pokemon in general, like about Smogon, about VGC, whatever? So let's continue on here. So this person's like random elitist d-bags who try and rule Pokemon by making good strategies and Pokemon illegal. Okay, so that right there is flawed due to the fact that the person decided to take the immature approach of name calling. If you go as far as to name call someone to try and get your point across, or to make your point more solid, that approach right there just completely invalidates your argument to begin with, because there's no need uh, to name call. And if you are a civil person that knows how to debate, you'll notice that those people don't name call. They do things with logic, with fact, and with professionalism. And let's see here. The whole thing about you saying that they try to rule Pokemon, no. As I said before, Smogon is not the be all end all. It's just a preferred way to a lot of people of playing. Smogon enforces rules. Well, I'm sorry, but you gotta follow by those rules. If you don't like it, well, I'm sure there's other metagames for you to play that may or may not have those rules that you don't like, or why don't you play casually, where there are no rules? There's nothing wrong with that. So, this example down here is like, I choose you, Salamence, enemy quits. My email filled with random flames. Smogon strikes again. Okay, so, um, give me a minute here. The fact that this right here, I just saw this, it kind of makes me think, okay, how accurate is this person's claim, but at the same time, I can't exactly confirm or deny it. Because within every single community, there are people who either have an elitist ego, who have negative intentions, and they will misrepresent the community by perpetrating those negatives, such as flaming, spamming, just like things like that. And that's not called for because not only does it hurt you, not only does it hurt the person that you're targeting, but it also hurts your community that you're misrepresenting. Yeah, not representing, misrepresenting, because you're giving the person that idea that that's what Smogon's all about, that there are these hateful people that go around bashing and flaring people down just because for God knows what. When really they're not like that. They are not like that. But is it too much to ask that if you play by Smogon rules that you, I don't know, quickly follow and read the rules? It's not that hard. And there's not a long rule list. It's really not that hard. So let's just go ahead, keep going down. I do apologize, my computer's lagging a little bit. Kind of is. So, let's see here. A group of competitive Pokemon players are too stupid to realize that a battle is almost entirely luck-based and can never be remotely considered competitive. Okay. So this is where I go back to saying that, Smogon has banned things like evasion, and they have a sleep clause where no more than one Pokemon's allowed to be asleep. I find that completely reasonable, and that right there is an abuse of luck. Now, however, there are things that cannot be controlled in battle that are luck-based, such as hacks, meaning you get status, like paralyzed, for example. You get para-hacks, you get flinched, you get confused, burned, poisoned, all that stuff. Moves that have a secondary effect that happen more often than they should. Luck is a spicy dynamic added into competitive battling that makes it fun. I mean, they try to make the absolute best out of battling as competitive, bare bones, like, nose to the grindstone as possible, where it's like the best person and better battler has to win. Sometimes not always the case. Sometimes luck is a bitch and kicks in and kicks your ass. It just happens. Deal with it. So let's see here. The aforementioned groups correspond to a website that it is infamous for having the worst moderators and staff on the internet. Not true. I spoke to some pretty cool-ass moderators. They're actually pretty awesome. I will not lie. The most elitist, childish, sad, and pathetic group of people you'll ever have the misfortune of coming across. Okay, that's obviously your opinion, and I'm sorry to hear that you had a bad experience with Smogon, but does that mean that everyone else should? No. And there's a lot of people that will disagree with your comment. And I'm one of those people because I haven't come across really any negatives to find worthy about really talking about, to be honest with you. I mean, other than elitism, but like I said, elitism can be found everywhere in every community. So far, a lot of the communities I've been a part of, there's been some elitism, but should that overshadow and negate the positives of those communities? Hell no. Hell no. So, let's just go down a little bit here. Okay, that's irrelevant. Smogon is a land ruled by inflated egos and multifaceted rules bent to ensure a world domination for Chaos and his bitchin' crew. Okay, that's just... That's not true, and I'm not even going to really entertain that. Examples of this bigoted ass-wiping can be found in their treatment of... I don't even know what this person is trying to say. A lot of typing mistakes there. All he wants to do is to be accepted into the fold, but those elitist bastards just said no, and they probably forced sexual favors on him. Did I just read that right? I'm not sure what Smogon you've been a part of, my friend, but I can guarantee you that the Smogon I'm speaking of in defense, so far from my experience, I don't see those people like that. I really don't. So, we're getting near the bottom here. Okay, so Popular online community specialized in competitive Pokemon battling, unfortunately ruined by unfortunate elitism kindly supplied by the unfortunates. I will agree with the fact right there that elitism does ruin a community. That's why we have to stand together and fight against elitism. We got to make sure that things like elitism, things like toxicity, negativity, bad sportsmanship, we got to make sure that we nip all those in the butt and overcome all of that and bring out the positives in the community. Like for me, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm sticking up for Smogon, because I see Smogon as a positive entity, and I'm not just being subjective, I'm being objective too. Okay? Like it may come across as me being subjective and being biased, but I'm trying my hardest to be as unbiased and as objective as possible. Sure, Smogon may come off as a group that thinks that they're the be all end all and all that stuff. No, no. If you give Smogon a chance, I guarantee you that they are not like that. And they even say themselves they're unofficial. I think it'd be kind of cool if they were official. I mean, I would do my best and go out of my way to go to one of their tournaments and to like just rampage all about and have fun, meet new people, make new friends, and hell, maybe even meet people from Pokemon Central. I would love to meet some of the characters that we have in Pokemon Central, man. It'd be a fucking blast. But basically, right here, these definitions that I've just read are from people that really have no idea on what Smogon is about. And these are definitions that coincide with the kind of hate that Verlisify was spewing out in that video that he once had, but now taken down. Smogon is not official or competitive. Just a bunch of misinformation and a bunch of negativity that is highly uncalled for. So I hope you enjoyed this portion of the video. Now, there is one more thing that I gotta say. Has nothing to do with Smogon, but it does have to do with a PokeTuber that is associated with Smogon. And that's to you, Mr. PokeaimMD. My man, you are bar none one of the best PokeTubers there is, and you deserve a push. You deserve a fucking push, my friend. I mean, I see the way that your channel has progressed, and I'm happy for you. I just like I admire a PokeTuber that cares about his subscribers, cares about his content, and the fact that you have an awesome narrator's voice, and the fact that you actually, just from watching one of your battle videos, like I can, like, your narration allows for me to kind of get in your head, make and kind of make me think. It's like, okay, well, what do I do if opponent does what or does this or whatever? Now I kind of do the same thing. It's like, okay, well, I play the prediction game myself just like you do, and I gotta thank you for that. I gotta thank you for influencing me on becoming a better battler as well as Pokemon Central. Um, and I know that this may not mean much considering that I'm a much smaller PokeTuber, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you do for our community, and I hope maybe one of these days you and I can have a battle. That would be an absolute honor. I would love to battle you sometime. That's really all I gotta say. You deserve a big push, my friend. You've overcome a lot, including Verlisify throwing you under the bus way back then. You've overcome a lot, and you've grown a lot. And I hope, my man, that you keep pushing out your content. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I do apologize if I have rambled a little bit. I've done my absolute best to try and keep things as condensed, as professional, on point, and right down the middle as possible. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if you agree with what I'm saying, and also don't be afraid to leave your comments in the comment section down below about this video, about whether or not you agree or disagree. Just be civil about it. I mean, I'm all about being civil. We can have civil disagreements and hash it out just fine. Thank you guys for watching. I shall see you guys next upload.